Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ailsa, and for today's video, I'll be discussing the 8 limbs of yoga. So yoga really is a philosophical way of living your life. The seated meditation practice or the physical movement of the body that we associate with yoga, especially in the West, only comprises 2 aspects of yoga, or 2 of the 8 limbs of yoga. And these 8 philosophical principles or limbs of yoga underpin the practice of yoga itself. And my aim as a teacher is to show that yoga goes far beyond the physical practice and goes far beyond a weekly 1-hour yoga class. So in this video, I'll be going into a little bit more detail to explain and define the 8 limbs of yoga. The non-dualist tradition of yoga does not identify with a god, but rather it recognizes that we are all connected. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which was a book written by Patanjali 2000 years ago, the 8-limbed path is used to demonstrate the central principles of yoga and is a clear framework that you can return to again and again to deepen and expand your understanding and practice of yoga. So let's delve into these 8 limbs of yoga and discuss them in a little bit more detail. So the first limb is the yamas. These are the ethics or the moral disciplines of yoga. And there are 5 of these written in the Yoga Sutras. These are ahimsa, which is non-violence, satya, which is truth or truthfulness, asteya, which is non-stealing, brahmacharya, which is integrity in relationship to sexuality, or sometimes interpreted as chastity. And finally, there is a parigraha, which is freedom from desire or greed. And then moving on to the second limb, this is the niyamas, and these are the positive duties or observances. And these are saucha, which is purity or cleanliness, santoja, which is contentment, tapas, which translates as heat and means self-discipline, spiritual passion, spiritual practice. There's svadhyaya, which is mindfulness, self-study. And the final one is Ishvara Pranidhana, which is surrender to God or surrender to the idea of the absolute, the interconnectedness of the universe. And I could discuss both the yamas and the niyamas in great detail and discuss the subtle nuances of these ethics and observances, but I feel like that could comprise an entire video in itself. So in the future, I plan to create a video devoted to this subject, and I'm excited to dive in a little bit deeper. So keep your eyes out for that video. So we'll move on to the next limb, which is asana. And this means physical postures, the physical movement of the body. So in Sanskrit, asana actually translates as seat, and it originally referred to the seat that you would take in meditation. But as yoga evolved, the term asana eventually referred to all physical postures of yoga that you might be familiar with today. The practice of asana is a moving meditation where practitioners will turn their attention inwards and focus their attention on the breath. This is a tool for the body and mind to prepare for the meditation practice. So the third limb really refers to the physical movement of the body that you might be familiar with from going to a weekly yoga class. So if your first experience of yoga is a weekly yoga class, then your first experience of yoga was the third limb, asana. And the fourth limb is pranayama or breathing techniques. So the term pranayama translates as the extension of life force energy, and it refers to the breathing techniques that you might do at the start of a yoga class or throughout a yoga class. Controlling the breath by using pranayama steadies the mind and helps the yoga practitioner to prepare for meditation. It's often seen as the foundation of the development of a meditation practice, and it helps to create focus and a concentrated mental state. The fifth limb is pratyahara. And this is often considered the bridge between the first four limbs, which are more externally focused, and the final three limbs, which are more internally focused. And pratyahara can roughly be translated as withdrawal of senses, and it is often considered the first stage in moving into deep meditation. Traditionally, yogis might withdraw from the everyday world, so practice pratyahara by living in caves in the Himalayas or joining forest communities in more rural settings. But practicing pratyahara doesn't necessarily need this extreme action. It can also mean being more aware of what commands your attention and consciously directing your own attention. So an example might be if you're practicing yoga in a class setting, you might get distracted by some sort of external stimuli, or you might get distracted by your own thoughts and feelings, perhaps about what's coming after the class or what's coming before the class. So in order to practice pratyahara, you take the time to notice this attention shifting and move back into focusing on the physical body and focusing on the breath. So redirecting your attention back into the present moment. The sixth limb is dharana, and Patanjali describes dharana as concentration or single-pointed awareness. So when a yoga practitioner learns how to steady the mind and consciously let go of thoughts and feelings as they arise, then a steady and uninterrupted state of concentration is cultivated. It can even be thought as the application of the mind to an object. These objects can be tools to help the yoga practitioner to focus, and examples of these can include mantra or focusing on the breath. And the seventh limb is dhyana. Dhyana refers to meditation or contemplation, and it builds on the practice of pratyahara, withdrawal of senses, and dharana, concentration. And as dharana is defined as concentration and single-pointed awareness, meditation is the extension of this concentration, and it creates a flowing process of concentration. So it's the sustained practice of concentrating. And the practice of meditation is to be aware of everything as it arises and falls in the mind and consciousness. It is the practice of choosing to stay in the present moment and to not get entangled in our thoughts and our feelings. And then the final limb, the eighth limb, is samadhi or enlightenment. And this is the ultimate goal of the yogic path as set out by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras. Samadhi occurs when the yoga practitioner transcends the self and realizes their interconnectedness with the world around them. The yoga practitioner ceases to identify with the self as ego and identifies as consciousness. Samadhi is not a state of mind, but it is our true nature. So to summarize that path, the first limb is the yamas, the second limb is the niyamas, the third limb is asana, physical postures, the fourth limb is pranayama or breathing techniques, the fifth limb is pratyahara or withdrawal of senses, the sixth limb is dharana or concentration, the seventh limb is meditation, which is dhyana, and the final limb is samadhi or enlightenment. So by moving through these 8 limbs of yoga, the tradition illustrates the potential for powerful transformation of the self. It enables yoga practitioners to find peace, freedom from suffering, and it helps you to recognize that we are all one. In other words, yoga enables you to master the mind. So the anxieties, the short attention span, and the distractions of the mind are all not a new phenomenon. They're just exacerbated by our modern lifestyles. The 8-limb path of yoga offers you a powerful tool to anchor you throughout your life. It acts as an instrument to help you relax the body, quiet the mind, find greater clarity with your thoughts, and find acceptance with your feelings. Yoga offers you the moment to reflect and turn inward. This framework is not just confined to the physical movement of the body or a typical 1-hour yoga class that you might do on a weekly basis. If you explore the limbs beyond asana or beyond meditation, you can harness the full potential of this powerful practice. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or any thoughts, then please feel free to leave them in the comments below this video. And if you like the videos that I create on my channel, then please feel free to consider becoming a patron of my YouTube channel. Becoming a patron involves a monthly contribution of either £3, £7, £10, £15 or £25 a month. And my website takes PayPal and Stripe, so you can pay in whatever currency you want. And as part of this, you'll be supporting free content on my YouTube channel, so everyone can enjoy learning more about yoga and experiencing yoga. You'll also get a number of exclusive benefits, including discounts on one-off events and courses, video calendars on a monthly basis, amongst a few others. So if you'd like more information, I'll leave a link at the end of this video, and there'll also be a link in the video description as well, so you can find out more. If you're already a patron of my channel, thank you so much for the continued support. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for practicing with me.